it's 10% the year before.
Yes.
But that's my new mindset. Why not be 10% the month before, right?
Right. I
You don't know what you don't know, right?
Exactly.
You know,
The
you
reason
kind of said,
is because he's been doing this for quite a while and has kept his stats for quite a while.
yeah,
There's a thing called weighted averages. A weighted average goes by the same month of each year because
right.
the months are created equal. It's like December, it's hard to create December, equate December to November. If November you're doing your holiday sale, it's really hard to do 10% better in December after you do a month of holiday sale.
Yes.
Can you do 10% better than the month before?
Yes.
It's just like with new students, people sign up less new students in July than they do at other months. So, that's what he's going by.
No, I understand that.
Very cool. So, talking this week about graduation and testing, because what I talk about and then what William Pearson are going to talk about tomorrow and him alone on Thursday are going to go together. Most of the schools do graduation and testing in September. If not, just like Evento here, where you're doing it monthly, you're doing it every 3 months. So September is always a huge month for testing. I used to get super excited for graduation, and it kind of turned out it kind of grew month by month. Every time I did graduation, I would just kind of debrief and say, okay, how did it go? And I remember back in Connecticut, I'd get off the floor and go, well, it wasn't really good this time. I only had one little kid cry. And that little kid cried because he was the only one who didn't pass the test. He froze and everything. And I go, man, that was terrible. And I remember doing another graduation shortly after that. I had little dragons out there. Little dragons were doing sparring. That was part of their testing. All of a sudden, one kid got hit. He kind of like stopped, started crying. Mom got up and she ran across the floor and go, oh, man. Yeah, I got to make sure that doesn't happen in testing. So a lot of things with testing was just my debriefing. Was it good as I could make it? When I handed out the belts, did the parents get emotional? I remember talking to Paul Garcia. We go, we laugh a little, we cry a little in graduation. We used to equate it to a Tony Robbins seminar. When you go to a Tony Robbins seminar, you're really, really excited. Then he'll tell some type of story or testimonial, and all of a sudden you get really quiet and emotional, and then all of a sudden you're cheering again. You finish the day and go, man, I'm beat. That was such an emotional roller coaster. That's what testing should be like. Testing, not for you as the owner, but as the experience for the students. So I thought it's really, really important because during testing and graduation, students should show progress. They're getting progress. So in other words, it's a good experience. It's a happy experience. I feel real good about myself. I feel real good about my training. This hard work that I'm doing is paying off. The parents go, yeah, I know I have to sit here on the bleachers 2 to 3 hours a week, but look at the difference in my child. So every time you do a graduation testing, they're reminded of their progress. Now, students who are making progress have high interest. As when you're doing something and you're good at it, you enjoy it, your interest is high, I want to do more of this. So high interest leads to good attendance. Now, if a student has good attendance, they're going to see progress. They're going to have the opportunity to test and graduate again. And then it's a cycle that brings them up, up, and up. The whole thing is all about retention. Anytime we have a chance of doing testing, anytime we do stripe testing, it's all about retention. We're just making the experience so cool at the school. We say it's not what you teach or how you teach it, it's how you make your students feel. And when they pass their belt, they get their new belt, they get their new stripe, it's all about their progress. People need that recognition. They need their progress. So the number one thing for graduations is retention. Students are seeing progress that's like glue for the school. When we start thinking about that, you must have a plan for your system in school. In other words, when a student's coming in, they should know that 3 months from now, 4 months from now, whatever your system is, they can expect to graduate. I remember when I was studying and I was a kid, I think my father took me to martial arts when I was 13 years old, 14 years old. I was in a class at a health club. So, every once in a while during the week, they would have class time where people were, still lifting weights and that, but they had a separate room and we were doing martial arts. It was judo at the time. The judo instructor quit. We had a kung fu instructor. He came in for a little while. He left. We had a martial arts instructor, Japanese karate instructor come in for a while. But neither of those instructors I started with, and this is back in the 60s, none of them had a plan. In other words, I'd be in class and all of a sudden they would sit down and someone would get the yellow belt and I'd be thinking, how come that kid got a yellow belt? Or that gentleman got a yellow belt? Well, when you're ready, we give you your belt. So I really didn't have a system or plan to follow. And I found that as a kid growing up very discouraging. When I switched to a Kenpo school, I was taking private classes. The instructor gave me a sheet. He goes, these are the requirements for your first belt. You have to learn 40 self-defense techniques and 2 forms. So I take private classes and I go, well, when do I test? He goes, once you're done. I go, how many of these am I doing per week? He goes, well, there's 40, and you've got to do 3 per week, 4 per week. So I said, okay, every 12 weeks I'm testing. He goes, exactly right. So I had a plan. I thrived having a plan. And your students should all have a plan. They should know exactly what they have to learn, how fast they're going to learn it, and when I'm going to do my testing or graduation. It's no different than when you're going to school. I remember in college, they would say, okay, we're doing this test on this day. We're doing our finals on this day. So I had to be ready. Well, your students have to know when they're going to be testing so they can be ready. So after we get this down, so it's taking 3 months or 4 months, break it down into monthly goals because we want to make sure that everyone's ready for their testing. So it's not just, okay, we're going to do 4 months, and after 4 months we're going to test you. Well, some people will pass, some people won't pass. But if they know through stripe testing on a monthly basis, long as they start passing every single month, they're going to be ready the month that they're going to do graduation. So it's a success cycle. It's a success cycle for the students, and it's success for us. Because we talked about as long as someone's passing and seeing progress, they're going to have high interest. They have high interest. They're going to come to class. If they come to class, they're students forever, so we have great retention. It's all about putting your breadcrumbs together. I remember when I was a kid, we were trying to catch a rabbit in the yard, so we put breadcrumbs out. The whole idea of the rabbit's going from one breadcrumb to another, and we finally get him into our cage. Well, it's the same thing here. To get good progress in students, we want to make our breadcrumbs together. So it's not you start today, you test in 4 months. No, that's not it. You start today, you have to learn this, this, and this. The 4th week, we're going to stripe test. And you'll lose this, this, and this. And we're going to stripe test. So we're putting our breadcrumbs together. Each step increases student performance and retention, making your business solid. If I want to know I'm going to keep my students, okay, I have to have a plan to keep my students. This is all about graduation. It is so important. Not only is it important for retention, but graduation gives you the chance every 3 months to share your vision with everyone in the audience. Now, when I say everyone in the audience, well, I have my students testing. I should have their siblings there. I want mom and dad cheering them on. I'd really like to, aunts and uncles, especially grandparents. I'd love to have grandparents at graduation. I think it would be really, really cool if I had school teachers there, because school teachers can see the difference between a martial arts school and an academic school, so they can see what we do for kids, because we're sharing the responsibility of educating kids. With all those people there, I'm sharing my vision with a ton of people. So I may have 100 students, each brings me 4. All of a sudden I have 500 people at graduation. I have a big impact. When I talk about my vision, how we're going to try to improve our community one black belt at a time, that's a great opportunity. When I have those 400 people, hopefully I can inspire a dozen of those people to continue martial arts on their own. So they're watching my students, and I've got a dad there going, wow, I'm not as good shape as I could be. I should be out there training myself. Or mom says, I like the way they have these fitness class in the morning. I should jump into a fitness class. Or parents are going, hey, David's doing really good, and he's 10 years old, and Andrew, he's 6 years old. He should be starting martial arts. He should be getting the same benefits as David. So now I have the opportunity to inspire others to join my school. So graduation is totally amazing. The second thing about graduation is revenue. It's revenue generating. For people who are listening now, I see some people online that charge testing fees. I see some people who don't charge testing fees. This is a debate that's been going on forever. People that charge testing fees usually have very few problems collecting testing fees as long as they show value. So if I'm doing testing fees or I'm doing graduation fees and I'm putting on a show and everyone's getting a new belt and people are getting certificates, I'm providing someplace nice for this graduation. At the end of graduation, I'm treating everyone to pizza and soft drinks. Well, people know there's money involved in that, and so they have no problem paying a test fees. Other people go, hey, I don't want people to think that they're buying the belt. What I'm going to do is I'm going to roll in my test fees as part of my curriculum. So instead of charging $175 a month and then $60 testing fee, I'm going to go to $195 a month. So I'm just going to roll it in. This way I don't have to ask people about testing. So I use Sal's numbers. That's what he's pointing to himself. He just went to that. So a lot of people think that's just easier. I don't want people sitting in the stands saying, I can't believe they charge for this. I mean, no, I don't paying enough for tuition. So this is totally up to you. I've seen both. I know that Tom Baker and Ellen Baker, they charge testing fees. It doesn't seem, and I'm a spectator and I consult for their school, that they have any problems with parents. In fact, the thing I think is the coolest about the Bakers, they charge testing fees and they do where people bring a potluck after testing so everyone has something to eat. So not only are they paying testing fees, that they're also bringing a potluck. But Mr. Baker's tests a little bit different than everyone else. In the parking lot, he has a barbecue. He's got a guy cooking hot dogs for everyone who's doing testing. He's got a bounce house so the kids can celebrate after testing. They play for an hour in the bounce house. So it's a little bit different. People understand, wow, Mr. Baker's making this extra special for my kids. So I know this is all about revenue. Some people do revenue by adding on testing fees. Other people include it. The same as, it's totally up to you. It's totally up to you. But the important thing, this is what I'm going to be talking with William Pierce tomorrow, is to create a profit generator on Rainmaker. So this profit generator could be a free profit generator if you don't charge fees. And this is just going out, getting information. It's almost like an invitation, but people are filling that out. Maybe one of the questions you're doing is how many guests that they're bringing. In the profit generator, you recommend bringing guests, you recommend parents. Please give a special invitation to the teacher. So there's a purpose for a free profit generator. If you're charging testing fees, well, I don't want people coming in and all of a sudden I've got 300 students, I have classes this week, everyone's going to come in and hand in their paper and I'm collecting these fees, and all of a sudden it's crazy busy and I'm not servicing my regular students as well as I should. So I want to create a profit generator where people are actually paying these fees online. So we talked about the importance of testing. We talked about as a revenue generator. We talked about as retention. You still want to do a profit generator. As much as you can in automating your graduation through Rainmaker, you want to do that. And I'm going to talk about a couple things. One is leading up to the graduation where they're doing the profit generator. And then we're going to talk later on with William Pierce. He's going to show you exactly how to do flows. So after graduation, maybe everyone's getting a congratulations notice. Maybe people that are qualified for your leadership or your next step program, they're getting an invitation for that. So that's what I really want to cover today. I'm going to cover more of the details for graduation, but today is just talking about the importance. So we're not just doing graduation just because, okay, it's the end of 3 months, I want to give a chance to give these kids belts, and I'm just going to have everyone come in and they're going to do a little bit of tests, and they'll give out the belts. Well, it's more than that. Again, it's all about creating that experience where they're seeing progress. It's all about sharing your vision. We're going to talk more this week or later on how it's your opportunity to really build up your instructors and your team members in front of the students. So there's a whole bunch involved, but the important thing right now is to just embrace graduation. Okay, I may have done it, but there's maybe a way that I can elevate this graduation. So it's important for revenue, it's important for retention, and it's a really huge marketing tool. When I had my school in Florida, I had a banner that I put up once a month that goes, martial arts demonstration, Friday, 7 p.m. So my graduation was always the last Friday of the month. It was always at 7 p.m. I had this huge banner that went across my school that goes, demonstration. Now, why would I do that? Well, I hope some people that may think about martial arts are going to come in. My graduation was such a positive experience. My demo team was out there. My students were out there. Students were giving testimonials. Parents are doing testimonials. We had music going. The instructors put on a demo. I mean, this was a show. So the graduation also turned into be a demonstration for new students. So kind of think big like that. Now, tomorrow at 12 o'clock, I'm going to review a few things. William Pierce is going to start talking about creating these PGs. For people who know how to do PGs, it's probably a really good review. One of the things I really like about William is his creative thinking and how he really creates emotions and things that he writes. It's not just like writing things out for a schedule, but he builds a lot of emotion. He's very, very creative, so we're going to talk about that tomorrow. And then he's going to actually do a workshop on Thursday. So if you want to create your PG online for graduation, join that workshop. He's going to take you step by step, create it with you. By the time you're done on Thursday, you're going to have it complete. So that's my topic for today. And I'm going to stop this recording because there's a couple people I want to talk to.